Hi everyone, it's Fabio here with Marcio Real Estate. A lot of people have reached out to me to get my secret recipe for arepas. Arepas is a corn, kind of corn like a corn cake from South America. People from Venezuela have them, also from Colombia. And Colombia, that's where my family's from. My family's from the costa, from Barranquilla. And they have a special way of making it there. It's very different from the other parts of Colombia to make the arepas. This is my personal recipe. This is my Orlando, Miami, New Jersey based recipe for arepas. I'm going to give you the ingredients now. I'm also going to give them to you in writing, and I hope you can share this and hope you enjoy the arepas the way I make them. Alright guys, so the first ingredients is I put 2 teaspoons of salt, just regular salt. I like to make them a little bit, tiny bit of sweetness, so 3 tablespoons of refined sugar right here. You can use grated Parmesan, or you could use, what I like to use is actually shredded Parmesan, and it's a half a cup. So it has a very slight taste of cheese in it. And then this is the cornmeal that I buy. It's very, it's popular here in Florida. There's actually like 2 or 3 other brands, but this is the one I've always used, and I like it a lot. This is 1 cup of that, the cornmeal, and then we get 1 cup of very hot water, not boiling, but very hot. All right guys, so now let's go ahead and put all the ingredients together and tell you how is it that we come to the next step of creating the arepa. Okay, so this is what we do. We're going to go ahead and get the 1 cup of the flour, the cornmeal there. And then this first part, I usually do with the spoon. I explain to you why. The water that is very hot. So what I do is just I'm going to be mixing everything with a spoon. Later on, we want to go ahead and do it with our hands, okay? The other ingredient that I didn't include in the first part is the oil. We'll want to use about 4 to 5 tablespoons of oil. And you use canola oil or corn oil, whichever you prefer. Also, the Parmesan cheese, I don't put this in right away. Once the cornmeal gets the hot water and it's setting, it actually expands, it grows. And so once it's grown, at that point, that's where I put the Parmesan cheese, not at the very beginning. I'll explain to you why also. So anyway, we're going to have the cornmeal here. Let's go ahead and put our 2 teaspoons of salt right there. Very important while you're doing this to have some music in the background. There. So 2 teaspoons. We have 3 tablespoons of refined sugar. So it's not super sweet, but it complements the cheese. So it's a sweet, cheesy taste to it. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to use the same spoon. We're going to go ahead and put the 4 or 5 tablespoons of oil. Again, you can use corn oil or canola oil, either one, whichever you prefer. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I've been heating the water in the back. Let's go ahead and take it out of there. Again, the water has to be super hot. 1 cup. We'll slowly pour it in, do it halfway, and then go ahead and get one of the spoons, start mixing it up. Show you what it looks like. There's a lot of water, but you'll notice that the corn starts absorbing the water, so it starts becoming solid fairly quickly. All right? And right away, as soon as you put that water in, you're going to start smelling the corn smell. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the water in at one shot. And the reason why I'm using spoons is because it's super hot. You don't want to scald yourself or burn your hands, burn your fingers while you're doing this. Now, A lot of people ask, well, how do I know what kind of consistency? The best way that I can describe the consistency of what you're shooting for is for it to be like very thick mashed potatoes. That's the best way I could describe it. When it gets to that consistency, you're good. Now, you will also need some more water. I'd say almost like half a cup to another cup of hot water. It doesn't have to be super hot. The reason why is this does get dry. The cornmeal does get dry, and so you want to constantly, little by little, add a few drops of water here and there as it is drying to mold the actual arepas. You see it right there? So nice and thick mashed potatoes. All right. Now that this is done, I'm going to go ahead and put the half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Do it this way, it's grated. Here. And there. Let's just put it in. Oh, okay. All right. We continue. You see how it's getting thick? It doesn't even seem like it has a lot of water, so that's why we want to go ahead and put the other water as we're doing this. But we want to leave this like for 5 minutes. So it continues to expand and continues to dry. See? See? Guys having fun? Wait till you taste these things. They're really, really tasty. Okay, we're going to go ahead and heat up the oil. We're going to deep fry them. See? It continues expanding for a few minutes. And again, really important, and I emphasize this, be constantly putting water into this because it does get dry quickly. And it just makes it more difficult to mold. And also, it helps in the frying process. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and superheat the oil. Like I always say, the key to successful cooking is preheating. So we're gonna preheat the oil, all right? All right, so we have another thing of here of water. So what we want to do is we want to keep moistening this. The other way you could look at this is it has to be kind of like Play-Doh. You remember Play-Doh back in the day? That's basically the consistency that you have here, okay? So another trick that I've learned is two things. You get some oil and you put it on your hands. The reason why you do it in the hands, of course, is to keep your hands nice and pretty. Aside from that, what you want to do is I use the garbage bags. No, not the garbage bags, I'm sorry. The supermarket bags. And you want to clean them and everything, but I use this to actually flatten them. So what I do is I just put oil in here, and it's disposable. Oil there so that when it comes down to smash them, it doesn't stick with the oil, okay? So how big is the ball? Let's see. Let me go ahead and, this is about how big, right there, see? Again, it feels like Play-Doh, all right? It's about a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Put that here in the center, and I don't use anything fancy in terms of instruments. I use a big pot. The reason why is it's a consistent flat surface. You put it in the center, you press it down. Now, how thick should it be? For you guys that are good with measurements, I would say it's a little bit between a 3/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. 3/8 of it is. This is how thick you want to make them, you see? Not too thick. Now, this is the way, again, when you fry, we're gonna deep fry these sucker. It's gonna be delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and do a couple of these to go to the next step and to put them in the deep fryer, okay? All right, so with 1 cup of the cornmeal, you should get 6 arepas from there, okay? And I always have a miniature one left over, so that's what that guy is right there, okay? So we got a total of 6 from one cup of harinas of the cornmeal. You guys can adjust it depending on how many people you want to feed, okay? The other thing about this food, they usually have it during breakfast. They eat it during the breakfast time, but you can eat it pretty much all day long. And they're very, very, very filling. You could have one of these, it's like having a big breakfast. So let's go ahead and show you what it takes to get this deep fried. All right, so let's go ahead and be very, very careful of hot. The oil has to be very, very hot. So what I do, just make sure that it's hot, is I get a little tiny piece. See a little tiny piece there? Drop it in. And it's just about ready. It's starting to bubble. All right. You could, so this is a little ball here. Like most things that are deep fried, sometimes they do stick to the bottom, but when you see them floating like that, it means it's cooking the right way. Be careful. All right, what I usually do is with the fork, I just lift up the edges only a little tiny bit. You don't want to lift it up too much because sometimes the surface in the middle hasn't cooked. It'll actually stick to the surface. See? You see how it's bubbling? That is success right there. It's bubbling right there. So, she's floating. Bam! There you go. How you like those apples? Or in this case, how you like them arepas? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this a little bit, but of course you don't want to burn yourself, so be careful. What I usually do is this is what I do. I tilt the pot a little bit, get the corner, I flip it over. Boom. There you go. How it's getting crispy there, that's the sugar and the cheese that are melting. That's what gives it that little golden thing there. And there you go. I want to flip it one more time. See what the other side looks like. Looking for that golden brown little spots like that. See? This is almost done, by the way. Hey, I found this in the kitchen, so we're gonna go ahead and use this to flip it over. See that? This way it has a little more. Actually, I think we're gonna take this out. Yeah, we're gonna take it out. So this is what it looks like. I want some of the oil to fall away. And there you go. There's your arepa. You got 5 more to go. Well, 5.5 more to go. So let me show you after what it looks like afterwards. Okay. Okay. So average, it takes about 5-6 minutes to be completed. And I have it this temperature. I have it at, let's see here. It's 6. So it's a little bit above a half temperature. So I have it at 6. And as you can see, they're coming out nice and golden brown. Hey, so here are the babies right here, all 7 of them. You could eat this for breakfast, like I said, lunch. It is right now almost 10 o'clock. I'm gonna have one of these. They're really, really tasty. And anyway, I'm gonna ask you guys if you want this recipe. Again, I'm gonna put this on the details on it. And I'm looking forward to doing some more videos like this. This has been kind of a hard moment in our lives with the coronavirus and all the social distancing. Sharing this with all my friends and all the people out there that are, maybe interested in doing something out of the ordinary, something out of the common. So anyway, arepas from Colombia. Hope you have a great evening, and I will have one on your behalf. Great night.